Right, so in today's video we are back with some lawn care for 2025 and we're going to be talking a little bit about winter lawn care today, and specifically what you can do to your lawn if you have got a little bit of disease. Overall, you can see that this lawn isn't looking too bad. This side is looking pretty much okay, to be honest. It's not bad for this time of year. You can see some marks there. That's where the delivery people have been stomping across the lawn, but you can see on this side we've got a lot of disease setting in. It started before we had all the snow and the frost that we've had recently, and it's only got worse since all that snow has melted. One of the main reasons why you are going to get disease in your lawn over the winter is purely to do with the amount of moisture that is actually being retained by the soil, and actually on the grass plants too. Like if you bring it in close now, you can see that there's quite a lot of moisture on the leaves, and this is the perfect environment for, you know, fungal diseases to spread across your lawn. And you can see in particular, it's obviously this side of the lawn that has the disease. You notice how it's stayed kind of in that location, but give it a little bit more time and it will spread to the rest of the lawn. So dealing with it as soon as you can is always the best port of call when it comes to having anything like this in your lawn. And this is the product we're going to be using to help tackle the problem, and all it is just a soluble iron. This is obviously the one from A1 Lawn, but you can get it from loads of different places. Get yourself on Amazon, find either liquid iron that's already in liquid form, or get the soluble stuff that you just have to dissolve yourself. They both do the exact same thing. All it does is when you spray it down onto your lawn, what it's going to do is it's going to dehydrate the plant. Think about what I said at the start of this video, the fact that, you know, disease thrives in your lawn when there's a moist environment. It needs that moisture to be able to thrive and multiply and spread itself about. It's the same sort of thing that happens when we get really sort of wet spells in the summer, where we have warm days but we have quite a lot of moisture, quite a lot of rain. It doesn't evaporate, it sits in the sward, and that fungal disease then takes the opportunity to spread about. If we remove that moisture, it just means it's less likely for that disease to spread any further, and it helps, you know, the spaces that have suffered from the disease itself to begin recovering. And this is definitely something you're going to want to use to help tackle that problem. Just make sure you don't get on with a granular iron. It's the grass blade you want to dry out. If you put a granular down, most of those granules are going to go down into the soil profile, and that's not going to dry out the plant. If you spray it on as a liquid iron, which is what this is going to be when we put it in the sprayer in a minute, it's going to stick to the actual leaf of the plant, and that's what it's going to dry out, and that's what's going to help us tackle this disease problem. Right, I'm not using the pot and table today to actually mix this iron up, because if I get any iron stains on that, I think I'm going to be killed, because it's only about 2 hours old. When you are applying any form of iron product, just be really mindful about getting it on hard surfaces, even on your clothes too, or on your hands and things like that. Wellies are a must when you're applying it, or particularly long pants. And you know, if I was you, I'd whack them in the wash straight away, just to make sure you're not going to get any staining on them. So this product does say apply roughly, you know, 2.5 to 5 grams per square metre. That's only a small space out the front, so I'm going to put about 75 grams of the product in. Before I do though, a little tiny bit of water into this, just make sure I'm on the right setting. On the scale, I'm going to measure out the actual iron into this. What I do is I mix it and dissolve it in this first, because in the past when I have put it into a knapsack sprayer, what has happened is it's not dissolved fully and got clogged in the tubes. Not in this one, but in the hand pump Oregon one, which I know a lot of people do have. So just be mindful of that. So I'm going to make sure I only put in exactly what I need, but make sure it's all dissolved in the water before I chuck it into the sprayer. That's roughly half of what I need. It's really not that much, even if you've got a particularly big lawn. You don't need to go mental with this. A little bit does go a long way, and we don't want to over apply it. We don't end up stressing the grass out unnecessarily. So get your kitchen fork, don't tell the wife or the husband, just give it a old mix. Make sure you actually give it a rinse first with the outdoor tap before, I was going to say putting it back in the drawer, putting it in the sink to be washed. I always recommend putting a little bit of water in your sprayer too, just so the concentrated stuff doesn't get down like in the tubes and whatnot. So start off with a bit of water, and the product has something to continue to dissolve into, and we chuck it into this. And again, only put as much water in as you need for your garden. Just read the instructions on products like this and say how much water you need. But if you do yourself a calibrate, going like I do over there, do yourself a bit of a calibration test. That'll tell you exactly how much water you need to use for your space. Give it a little shake for good luck. And there we go, ready to spray. Now you can actually get on and cut your lawn before you get on with a liquid iron product, but what you do risk doing is actually spreading the disease across the space even more. That fungal disease is going to produce spores that are going to spread across through the sward. If we get on now and start cutting it, particularly if there's a rear roller on the back of the lawnmower, it's going to take those spores, it's going to drag them around. We're going to make that disease problem even worse. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just get straight on, spray it on, give it a few days, and we'll come out and we'll see what it's looking like then. And that's all we're going to do really to tackle this problem. You can see already how it has started to kind of creep its way through the lawn, and if we were to have not done anything to it, it would just get worse and worse. Putting iron down isn't going to be like the great fix that's going to make everything look completely amazing, but what it is going to do is help to almost combat the moisture that we already have in the space, just so it doesn't get worse. Whatever you do though, don't get on with a fertiliser that contains things like nitrogen at this time of year. Firstly, nitrogen is going to make that disease problem even worse. It's also going to encourage growth in your grass during a time when temperatures really aren't up to it. You know, it's going to stress your lawn out even more. It's going to end up with your lawn sort of thinning out more than it probably already is, because it can do that through the winter. Just get on with purely iron, nothing else. Don't be getting fancy. Don't need to worry about carbohydrates or anything nuts like that. We're just normal homeowners on this channel. We like to have half decent lawn, and just make sure now you're not going on it that often. Again, if you walk across your lawn, you're going to move those spores from one place to the other. You're going to make that disease worse. Obviously we've been across to apply the product, but you know, the less we can get on our lawn and walk across our lawn during the winter, the healthier it's going to be come early spring when we get into March and April. And another thing that's going to help you as well is if you've got any moss in your lawn too. Obviously moss is a plant that spreads its spores across the lawn, similar to how the disease produces the spores and spreads them as well. So the more you walk across the lawn, the more you get on with a mower, with a rear roller, it's going to move those spores around, make that moss problem worse than what it currently is. What I will do is I'll post an update video in around about a week's time to see how that disease space is getting on over there, and when I have one, I'll make sure I'll leave the link on screen somewhere now and also in the description below, so you can check out what the results are looking like a week on from applying liquid iron. And that's really all you kind of need to be doing to your lawn over the winter. Obviously a lot of lawn care fanatics are out there and they're wanting to get started with lawn care stuff now that we're into 2025, but it is about waiting, it's about being patient. And if you have been around on this channel for a while, I will give you an update as to how the back lawns are looking in the next few weeks. We did the December update just before New Year's, and we'll do the January update soon as well, because we're creeping ever closer to March, ever closer to April, and soon we'll have lovely lawns, the sun will be out, and it'll be absolutely boss to be getting on doing some more stuff to this lawn once again. So yeah, if you have enjoyed the video, feel free to give it a like. If you haven't already, consider subscribing, and yeah, finally, thanks for watching.